Let me tell you, I never set out to challenge a Navy SEAL at his own game, definitely not before breakfast, on a day when all I wanted was to finish my shift, get a class, and maybe sneak a nap in my car. But sometimes life drags you straight out of the background and dumps you in the spotlight with no warning. You know what I mean? That morning, I was just Sarah Martinez, college student, barely caffeinated, hauling paper targets out to the 500-yard line while a group of SEALs real, actual Navy SEALs were barking at each other behind me. And then Rodriguez, the youngest one, started losing it, yelling that his rifle was messed up, blaming everything but his own technique, and I guess something in me snapped a little. The range had been my side hustle for 8 months, mostly because nursing school sucked my savings dry and my dad's Marine pension only went so far. You pick up things when you work at a shooting range, especially when your old man is Gunnery Sergeant Miguel Martinez and thinks weekend fun means putting holes in bullseyes until your fingers ache. Still, I never thought I'd end up calling out a special operator in front of his team. But there I was, hearing myself say, "The rifle's fine. You're pulling your shots left because you're anticipating recoil." Before the words even left my lips, I knew there was no putting them back. Every head whipped around. You'd think I'd insulted their mothers. Even the wind seemed to hush. Chief Sullivan, their leader, a guy who looked like he could break a rifle over his knee just for fun, locked eyes with me, and you could feel his patience on the edge. Rodriguez looked like he wanted to bury me 6 feet under the firing line. I felt my face heat up, but what could I do? My dad always said, a craftsman never blames his tools. Master yourself first, then talk about the equipment. I guess I channeled him at the worst possible moment. Sullivan stepped forward, voice low and even, but carrying that weight that makes you stand up a little straighter. "You think you can do better?" he asked. Not angry, more like he honestly wanted to know. Rodriguez started laughing, but Sullivan shut him up with a look. "Hit that target, 3 shots, dead center. You do it, lunch is on me. Miss, you get to explain to my CEO why a civilian's handling military gear." The other SEALs, who'd been ribbing Rodriguez a second ago, went dead quiet. Some grinned, others just watched, waiting to see if I'd bail. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear in my ears, but I nodded, picked up the rifle, and tried to look like I wasn't about to faint. Let me back up a sec. This wasn't just a lucky guess. Every day at the range, I'd watched all kinds of shooters, from weekend warriors to off-duty cops, taking mental notes. My dad had started me young, but it was just our thing, never something I bragged about. That's why, when I asked Sullivan if I could show what Rodriguez was doing wrong, he just shrugged and let me. I dropped to the mat, mimicking Rodriguez's position, showed them his wobbly elbow, death grip on the stock, and that panicked, slapping trigger pull. "You gotta hold the rifle like a bird," I said, "tight enough it won't fly away, gentle enough you don't crush it." For a second, even Rodriguez stopped sneering. It was my turn. I took a deep breath, adjusted for wind, felt that old familiar calm slide over me. Exhale halfway, hold, squeeze straight back. The rifle kicked, dust jumped at the target center. 2 more shots, just as steady. When I finally lifted my head, Sullivan was staring through his spotting scope. Then he just said, 3 shots, 2-inch group, dead center. The silence was ridiculous. Rodriguez couldn't believe it. "That's impossible," he muttered. "No one hits like that with a new rifle." Sullivan just shook his head. "It's not our first time, trust me. This is years of work." Suddenly the mood shifted. One of the older SEALs, web gray at the temples, steady hands leaned in, asked, "Martinez, you related to Gunny Martinez?" "Scout Sniper School." When I nodded, he let out a low whistle. Suddenly, I wasn't some nobody. I was his kid, and that meant something. Rodriguez, to his credit, swallowed his pride and listened as I walked him through the basics he'd missed. The rest of the team started asking questions, real ones, about wind, breathing, all the stuff I'd soaked up from years beside my dad. Sullivan wanted to know why I was working here instead of shooting professionally. "Tuition's expensive," I said. "This pays better than waiting tables." Didn't mention the nights I'd sat up counting every dollar or the afternoons I'd nearly quit because I felt so invisible. Funny how that works. I figured that would be a awkward lunch, maybe a joke or two, and back to normal. But then this black sedan rolled up, a guy in navy dress blues got out, and every SEAL straightened up like kids caught goofing off. "Commander Harrison," Sullivan whispered. And just like that, I was back to being terrified. Harrison came over, asked what was going on. Sullivan told him about my assistance and how I'd coached Rodriguez, then demonstrated with a group that'd qualify for their marksmanship standards. Harrison checked my target through the scope himself, took his time, then finally said, "Miss Martinez, that's not recreational shooting. That's competition level." He asked if I'd ever thought about making a career out of it. Honestly, never even crossed my mind. But things moved fast after that. Sullivan arranged for me to observe more advanced training SELs, Marines, even Army Rangers. I started noticing things the other instructors missed, little patterns in the wind or body mechanics that made all the difference. One day, I pointed out a crosswind to a group of scout snipers that was wrecking their shots. And after that, people started calling me the range girl who could read the wind like a weather map. Word spread until it reached Rebecca Chun, who ran Precision Training Solutions, a military contractor that needed new blood. She interviewed me personally, said, "Most of our guys are ex-military. You see things they don't. We need instructors who think differently." The pay tripled overnight. My schedule flexed around classes, and suddenly I was teaching everyone from law enforcement snipers to Olympic hopefuls. My dad just grinned and said, "See, told you those Saturdays would pay off." I even helped him out with his medical bills for once. Not gonna lie, there were rough days, guys twice my age refusing to listen because I never worn a uniform, nights I questioned whether I belonged. But slowly things changed. A Marine sniper once told me, "I thought you just got lucky. Now I think you know things I never will." That stuck with me. Now, every time I step onto a range, I hear my dad in my head, "Teach, don't just show off." That's what I do. I finished nursing school, but this coaching shooters, seeing them break through old limits, knowing my voice matters is the work that makes me feel alive. Sometimes expertise doesn't come with rank or medals. Sometimes it comes from the quiet kid who refuses to stay invisible. And here's where I want your take, because I know not everyone would have spoken up like I did. If I kept my mouth shut that day, Rodriguez would still be blaming his rifle, and I'd still be running targets, right? But that moment standing up and speaking out, risking embarrassment, risking everything changed the whole course of my life. So tell me, would you have stepped forward or kept quiet? Was I out of line or just doing what was right? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because sometimes you only get one shot to make a difference.